All right, the Biden administration dragging its feet on its planned rewrite of Title IX rules to include gender identity and opening the door for biological males to compete in girls' and women's sports with access to other private spaces by federal mandate. Now, the Department of Education pushed back the release date from May to October, but now it appears they're pushing it back even further. Is the White House delaying this announcement, trying to run out the clock on the rules being implemented so that doesn't happen until after the election? Joining me now in studio to discuss this and much more, Meg Kilgannon, Senior Fellow for Education Studies here at the Family Research Council. She served in the Department of Education during the Trump administration. Meg, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me back.
Has this become a political hot potato for them?
I think to some degree it has, but, you know, their base really, really wants this, or they think they do.
But
right?
the base isn't happy the way it's written because it doesn't give them everything.
Right. And so, but the LGBT, industrial complex here in Washington, D.C., with all the interest groups and things, they're really, they make a lot of demands of this administration, and their demands are met usually, right? So I think one reason they might be delaying it, though, is so the way that it is a fundamental transformation of Title IX, right?
Yeah, it's taking words that the Congress passed and redefining them.
And changing their meaning, right? To mean the opposite.
By them unilaterally.
Right. And so in doing that, the sports section, we wrote our comments and everything, and we realized this, but the way this is actually going to play out in a school, if a school wants to have a girls-only soccer team and they're in the 8th grade, they're going to have to apply to the Department of Education.
They have to justify
for permission to have a girls-only soccer team.
Who's going to go through all those hoops?
So this is the thing. I think that it's going to make some of their base actually mad when they actually see what's going to happen with this rule. And so by delaying it, the effects of the rule will be felt sort of after early voting has started in 2024, right? The impact of it on the schools won't be fully felt by the time they have to go.
But the schools that want to do it are going to fall in line anyway. They're going to do it already.
They're already doing it, right? They're already doing it. So the places that are going to have to comply and that they're going to target for compliance, I think that might be part of the reason they're delaying. But also, we had a historic number of comments, over 240,000 comments.
But that's the way the left does things. You have to opt out.
Right. As
opposed to opting in, you have to opt out. And that's actually an issue over in Maryland, where parents want to be able to opt their kids out of sexual material, sex education, LGBTQ indoctrination. Mm-hmm. And even though that was the policy,
right,
they're refusing to allow the parents to pull their kids out. So they went to court. That's now been fast-tracked. Tell us about that.
So the Fourth Circuit has this on an expedited hearing schedule, and the Beckett Group, that's the lawyer for these parents in Montgomery County.
Montgomery County.
Montgomery County, Maryland. They're really excited about this. The judge in the original ruling spent 60 or more pages talking about how this did not impact the religious freedom of parents.
Right.
And so we think she does protest too much.
Well, it was a Biden appointee.
Yeah. So we're very excited and think that the court may be sympathetic to these parents on this. So this is material that is a part of a diversity, equity, and inclusion sort of immersive curriculum option.
Indoctrination.
Indoctrination. Fair enough. So in math class, for example, you might have a day where you decide to read a story, and it's going to be about some, one woman last night I was with Montgomery County Moms for Liberty, and one of the moms described a book that her daughter had brought home, and it was called My Maddie. And her daughter was in 3rd grade, and she brought it home because her sister's name was Maddie. But this book is about a mother who's becoming a daddy, or a daddy who's becoming a mother. I forget which way it was going. But they talked about kissing my Maddie's cheek, and now it has whiskers. And it's a book about a parent who's transgender.
I did that to my grandmother one time.
No comment.
Okay. All right, let's move
But
on.
that's the kind of thing. This kind of book that's going to be read during math class, and the parents want to opt out of this, right?
Yeah.
It's a lesson on
And they
sex.
should be. I mean, look, let's go back. Kids belong to the parents.
Yes.
Now, the left does not think so. We've talked about that actually last week and how they think parents are stupid. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
God gave children to parents. He gave them both the authority and the responsibility to educate them. As we've talked about, they can delegate the authority, but not the responsibility.
Yep.
God will
That's
hold
right.
them accountable. All right, very quickly, before we run out of time, Meg, Target closing 9 stores they're in New York. Some of them are in San Francisco, other places of high crime.
Right.
We're seeing this across the country. Over $100 billion shoplifting spree, lawlessness.
Right.
And Target was one of the first to promote this idea of, hey, do whatever you want. If you're a predator and you act like you're transgender, you can use whatever dressing room you want.
Right, right. Well, the situation with the way they've redefined crime now, and you can shoplift up to $950 and not be prosecuted. I mean, how is anybody supposed to stay in business with that kind of a thing going on?
This is great theoretically, when you're trying to appease the lawless.
Right.
But when it actually comes and starts biting into your bottom line, Target, they experienced over $1 billion in theft last year.
Wow.
I mean, $1.2 billion. Wow. And now they're having to close stores because they cannot sustain it.
I think that it's really a shame in a way, because I'm sure that the stores they're closing are in neighborhoods that don't have a lot of shopping options.
They absolutely are.
Target has a grocery store, part of it. Maybe they're going to be losing out on the opportunity to buy food.
That's happening in Chicago. Chicago grocery stores going out because of theft. The mayor wants to create government-run
Right.
grocery stores. I guess commissaries. I don't know. Comrade. All right. Meg, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, John.